Alright, welcome back to Philly Fame TV once again. Thank y'all for tuning in. Appreciate, all the love and support. This your first time, tap in there, like, subscribe, click the notification bell, all that good stuff. But this episode right here, we covering, journalist, Philly legend, what happened to journalist and where is he now? This story, definitely another, personal joint for me, because, Jerry, my folks, we go way, way back, like way back, and I'm gonna get into that, as we get into the story. So without further ado, we're gonna jump right into it. Like, he originally from South Philly, it's 5th Street, 5th and Carpenter, that's where his mom from. His dad from 7th Street, the notorious 7th Street down South Philly, And then at some point in time, they end up moving to 15th and Bainbridge. And coincidentally, they ended up moving right under, an apartment, John, a duplex. It was a downstairs and an upstairs. They moved downstairs, and just so happened we lived upstairs. I was small, bro. I was like 1-2 years old, slow baby, so... But I had older brothers and my mom, and he had brothers and his mom and stuff too. Like, he had family members and stuff down there too. So my family and their family was cool. They used to come up to our cribs to come to their crib, like that type time. I was small, so I don't remember a whole lot, but I do remember some of it. And at some point in time, they moved from 15th and Bainbridge to Wharton Street. And then from Wharton Street, they ended up moving to Hicks Street, which was right across the street from 15th and Bainbridge. So, So I that's how I know him and his family and all of that. And so we go back to that. So, crazy how that went. He grew up to be journalist, but I know him as his name Rafiq. Real name Rafiq George. So he started rapping, he started playing around with the rapping in like 88, 89, around that time. He was inspired to start playing around with it. Then, he kind of put it down, left it alone shortly after that. And then when Nas dropped Illmatic came out in 93, he was like 15 at the time. He said that's what really made him, inspired him to really start messing with rap, like writing and going hard with it. At the time he was going to South Philly High. A lot of people from South Philly, that's one of the main schools they go to down there. And at the time he was hanging around on like 16th Street, all up and down 16th Street. In South Philly, like that was his, where he pretty much owned his craft, and that's where his whole career started at. That's where he used to hang at. That's where he used to all go down at. So he pretty much credit, his come up in his career to 16th Street. Even though he moved all around, he lived all around South Philly, But at this particular time when he started rapping, he was on 16th Street with it. And, shortly after graduating high school, he was playing ball in high school and all that, went through school. He had hoop dreams, but, he got more into the rap. Like, as he got older and more into rap, that became, like, his dream. So shortly after he graduated high school, he started working as a youth counselor for, like, a small little company. And then eventually he was able to land a job at CHOP, Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. This was, like, in 96. He graduated in 95, so, shortly after that, he was able to land a gig and all that. So he still was rapping, but he said he was keeping it more so on the low, because, back then rap wasn't cool, rap wasn't acceptable, it wasn't thorough. Like, a lot of people looked down on rappers, especially people in the streets. Like, they felt like they was really outside, rappers was just rapping. So, that wasn't a thorough thing to do. So if you was rapping back in those times, most people was keeping it on the low for the most part. So he said one of his folks had a splash party down South Philly at the Y, and a lot of people came through that joint. A lot of people that was in the streets, or that was in the music in the city at the time. Like, a lot of people that was well known in the city was at this joint. And at some point in time, people start grabbing the mic and start spitting. And I mean, this what he said. And I mean, this was his time to grab the mic and pop out, and a lot of people surprised. 'Cause ain't nobody really know he rapped like that. Like I say, he was keeping it on a low. Like, so I mean, he finally popped out and let people know he could spit. And I mean, got a good reaction from the crowd or whatever. And I mean, so the next day, he said he ran into his homie named Marley, and Marley, who I mean at the time had like a single deal with Universal, I believe. So he had ties in the industry. So he ran into Marley. You know, now that he let it be known that he read, Marley knew he read. You know, Marley pretty much let him know what he had going on, and pretty much let him know like yeah, that he was about to meet with Dr. J's son, I believe, like the following day, if I ain't mistaken, or shortly after that, he was letting him know like I'm about to go meet with, you know, Dr. J's son, and talk about some, you know, some music stuff, some I mean whatever the case may be, and he invited Jaren to come with him. I mean, so eventually, you know, that meeting happened. You know, Marley called Jaren. Jaren met him down there. Jay Irvin, you know, Dr. J's son, Jay Irvin Jr., he was there. Jaren pretty much wrecked for him. I mean, and Jay Irvin took a liking to Jaren, was feeling him. And, you know, Jay Irvin, I don't believe he was had no experience or no track record in the music industry at the time. He just, you know, was Dr. J's son, so, you know, he knew some people and he was connected somehow. So, you know, Jaren's pretty much like, you know, asking him, you know, what can you do for me? You know what I mean? And he was basically letting him know, like, you know, I'm gonna show you type time. So they just made a verbal agreement that they was gonna work together. They ain't signed no paperwork or nothing. They just agreed they was gonna work. And Jay Irvin basically like he's letting Jaren know, like, I mean, I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna make some stuff happen for you. You know what I mean? We just gonna get it popping pretty much. So from there, Jay Irvin set it up to where as though Jaren could meet up with a guy named Charles Soup, who was the head of Crazy World Entertainment at the time, and the VP of A&R for Universal, whom Cannabis was signed to. So he met up with him, rapped for him. I mean, the guy was impressed with Jern. I mean, it's basically like, I mean, I'm going to set it up for you to meet Cannabis. Like, I think it would be good for you to meet up with him. At the time, Cannabis was working on his second album, 2000 BC. And he was looking for a few artists to get down with him. This was like in 99 going into 2000. I mean, so Jern ended up, you know, linking up with Cannabis at, I believe it's at Chung King Studio. He met up with Cannabis. Cannabis was there. He had a couple other artists there too. Like, some other artists in there that was rapping for him. You know, trying to impress him. I guess trying to get down with him. So Jaren went in there, you know, and they pretty much had like a spit off. Like he spit for Cannabis. I mean, Cannabis was fucking with him. I mean, they had all the artists come out. I mean, they pretty much had like a rap off, not like a battle, but everybody just was going. I think they got in a booth, throw a beat on, you know, just had everybody go in there and do their thing. I mean, and he really was rocking with Jaren. So when it was all over, I mean, all the other guys left and Jaren stayed behind. Canibus was hollering at him. Basically, like, he really rocked with Jaren because a lot of the other guys sound a lot like Canibus did, but Jaren, you know, he said he got his own style. I mean, he got his own. I mean, the way he put it together and the type time he was on was a little more different. Like Cannabis was strictly like a rapper, like strictly bar, strictly lyrical, no that. Jaren was lyrical too, but he, you know, he had some Philly tones, Philly style from SP, I mean, so he had a little bit of that in him too, I mean, so Cannabis gravitated towards that. So I mean, basically let Jaren know, like, I mean, I'm working on the album. He invited Jaren down to Atlanta where he was staying at the time, like, yo, I want you to come down, work on some music with me. I mean, we're gonna lock in pretty much. So bam, so that happened. I mean, he went to Atlanta, and like a few weeks later, I think Jaren flew out like 2 weeks later, something like that. Jaren flew out to Atlanta, staying at the crib with him. I mean, the first like couple days or a week or whatever, Jaren was just in the crib writing beats, getting ready. Then eventually they went to the studio. And he ended up getting on Cannabis album. They did the 2 joints, one of them Life Liquid and Die Slow. I mean, for Cannabis 2000 BC album. I mean, at the time, Cannabis was set to go on a promo run for his album. I mean, gonna hit the radio station and all that, you know, do the promo stuff that they used to do at the time. And you know what I mean, invited Jaren to come with him, like, I mean, take him on the tour with him, like. So they hit the road, but I think prior to hitting the road or something like in the mix of that, he proposed to Jern, like, you know, like letting him know, like, I'm trying to start this internet label. I mean, I want you to be a part of it. I want you to be the first artist on there. You know what I mean? Like he was thinking futuristic. He said, Jern said, like, Cannabis was, you know what I mean? He seen the music game going to the internet early on at that time, so he was trying to create something, you know, to get to be ahead of the curve, pretty much just throwing it out there, letting Jaren know, like, I mean, like, I want you to be down with it. So they go ahead and hit the road. I mean, they hit the different cities. They hit the local radio stations. I mean, whatever hip hop platforms out there that they could, I mean, like, that they was able to get on or whatever they had set up. They would just go out there and they would just spit. I mean, got like said Jared said they would just go in like everywhere, like wherever they was at, like multiple verses. And he said he felt like he impressed Canibus because being though when he first came to the A, he was able to lock in and just write initially. He said he just had bars for days. So every time they hit a different show or a different station, different city, I mean, he never had the same verse. Every time he spit, he always had new verses. So I used to say he felt like Cannabis that impressed him even more, along with him killing it, obviously, you know what I mean? But, you know, just had unlimited verses for him, you know what I mean? So they had a nice little run doing that, and then they made the, you know, the infamous stop, I mean, at DJ Clue at the Monday night joint, I mean, the Monday night show on a radio station in New York. And, you know, Cannabis came up there and Jaren was with him, I mean. And that's the joint that a lot of people know Jaren for. Initially, that's the first, like, major joint that came out eventually. But when they first did it, it didn't come out initially. They just went up there, rapped, did their thing. I mean, did his thing or whatever. And, you know, that was a crazy situation for him. You know, DJ Clue, I mean, getting on that joint. That's how he discovered F.A.M.E. F.A.M.E. came up there and killed it with Nori, like, I mean, that's how he ended up signing F.A.M.E. So, you know, getting up there with Clue was everything at the time. So,
but you know, I was getting pats from Flex, you know what I'm saying, and salutes from Clue and whoever was in there. So it was a good feel, it was motivation to keep.
So you said Flex and Clue was in there?
Flex was in there. I think Flex was passing through to get something out of the station, going back to his joint or whatever, while we were doing an interview or whatever. But you know, he walked by and patted, like, you know, I took that as do your thing, you know what I'm saying? So, and like I said, you know, just a year before that, you know what I'm saying, I'm riding around listening to all these guys, you know what I'm saying? I'm listening to the Hot 97, I'm buying the Clue tapes. And before the Clue joint was popping, you had Tony Touch and them, you know what I'm saying? DJ Ron G and all them. So I was still like in the mixtape, buying the mixtapes and getting to that. So to be featured on that was, it's like, you know what I mean? Some things coming true, you know what I'm saying?
Shortly after doing that, you know, Jaren said, you know, his Cannabis manager, you know, like pulled him to the side and basically hollered at him, like, you know, like, yo, you I mean, you should sign with Bis, like, you should get down with Bis, you know what I mean, on that type time, like, he didn't really feel, like, I guess he didn't really feel like his energy or, I mean, how he approached him about it, so he wasn't really, you know, feeling the situation pretty much. So he let Bis know, like, you know, I understand and I appreciate everything you've done for me, but I don't appreciate how, you know, man brought the situation to me, so I ain't really pretty much interested in doing that situation with the deal or whatever, you know. And it wasn't no hard, he felt like it wasn't no hard feelings, like Cannabis understood where he was coming from and all of that, but, you know, the situation between them kind of changed from there. That's when it kind of drifting apart, so to speak, from there. Like, but after that situation, they ended up doing, you know, coming back to the city, Philly, to do Cosmic Kev, the come up show. I mean, they ended up rapping, doing anything on that joint. And then after that, that was pretty much like the last situation. You said, you know, Cannabis went ahead and did his thing, and Jaren went back to doing, I mean, back to the city, man, and do his own thing. Like, and that was pretty much the last of them really, like, doing any work. The last of them, I mean, rocking together for the most part. Like, I mean, it wasn't no beef or no issue or nothing. It just, I guess Cannabis felt like because you ain't signed it with me, you know, I ain't really going, I mean, work with you no more on that type of time, I guess, or do nothing for you no more. And Jaren was like, I'm trying to get I'm gonna go my own way pretty much, and that was that. But like I said, I don't think it was no issue or no beef or nothing like that at all. So now, Jaren back to the city. I mean, mind you, prior to, moving around with Cannabis and all of that, he was working at Chop. So, eventually he left his job and was pursuing his music career. So now he come back to the city. And, he ain't working or nothing like that. So now he all in with the music, trying, get a deal after just having that experience with Cannabis, running around, rapping for Clue and all that. He said Flex was in there too. I mean, so it was legendary people co-signing him, giving him love. So now he motivated it, trying to figure it out. So he back in the city, trying to bust some moves and try and get to that next level. The Cannabis album ain't dropped yet. The Clue tape ain't dropped yet. So, while he home, trying to figure it out, shortly after, the Clue tape ended up dropping, which was The Great Ones Part 1. I mean, he got the verse on there, and the buzz went crazy in the streets as well as the industry.
My man, journalist, Cannabis, black it out one time, and remember this, I do it all for you, yo. You catch the journey up in NY, with my man Kenai, holding a pin high, if not a 44 semi. Go ahead, mess around with the slim guy, had your corpse swim by, one of them legs in Detroit in by.
I mean, like, the Clue tape was everything getting on that joint. Like, that was like the era where it wasn't no internet and all that. In order to get exclusive music from your favorite artists, Cameron, The Locks, Big Pun, Cannabis, all these people, you had to wait for these. At this time, it was the Clue tapes. Like, Clue was getting all the exclusive stuff, and he was putting it out. So you had to wait for these joints to drop to hear the exclusive freestyles, to hear the exclusive songs. So when this joint came out, everybody grabbed them, everybody buy them, everybody waiting, everybody listening. And then when that joint came out, man, I remember I was living in Logan at the time, and few people around the neighborhood. I think I went to the barbershop. A lot of people was talking about journalists, but mind you, when we moved from South Philly, like shortly after. We ain't lived there that long. We was only there for like a couple years, and then we moved back to North. And then he moved from 15th and Bainbridge, or Hick Street, where he was at the time. They moved from there to a different part of South Philly and all that. So I ain't see him since then, or holler at him since then. So I didn't know that he was journalist at the time. So everybody was like, yo, the boy journalist. Everybody talking. I heard that verse was crazy when I heard it. Like, I mean, that joint was crazy. He killed that joint. Like, but I ain't know that was Rafiq. So I'm just thinking as journalist. I heard niggas talk about journalist. So it created a crazy buzz for him. Like, and eventually, things start happening for him motion wise. He ended up getting a Reebok commercial deal. I mean, where his manager set it up where he do couple little rap commercials for Reebok, and they cut him some checks, get some free clothes and stuff like that. So he had some motion. I mean, and sometime after that, he ended up getting into a little unfortunate situation that could have, jeopardized the whole, situation for him. Like, he ended up getting locked up, catching a little crazy little case. But by the grace of God, he was able to, bounce out of that situation and, get back to pursuing his career. But it could have been bad, but by the grace of God, it wasn't. And he was able to get back to what he was doing. Like, so now, shortly after that, the Cannabis album ended up dropping. It was a few months after that. The Cannabis album ended up coming out. 2000 BC. It dropped on July 18th, 2000. And he was on 2 songs on that joint. So now he still ain't got a deal yet. But he just was featured on, a major joint with the Clue tape. He got a Reebok commercial out. They was spinning that on the radio. And he got 2 songs on Cannabis album. So now his name ringing. And then prior to all of this, prior to him even linking with Cannabis, he used to go up to New York. Just being hungry, going up there, spitting for people, passing out his demo, battling people. So he already had a little name out there. He had his demo floating around. So all of this stuff coming out just made his buzz and the demand for him even more. So he ended up landing a single deal initially with with Motown, I believe. Yeah, Motown. To build the relationship with them, build the rapport with them. And then that eventually he parlayed that into, actual album deal. And, shortly after him signing, Motown and Universal ended up merging. So he was in the mix of, that he was in the mix of that situation when he got signed. So now, people from Universal, the artists and stuff like that, Universal come over, and some of the people in the staff and stuff like that, and the marketing department and all the different departments coming over to work on this project now. So now you got the Universal and Motown staff, working with this project. So now this is in 2001. I believe it's 2001 at this time when he got signed and got his deal, and they merged. So now he's slated to drop his debut album, Scribes of Life. And he immediately, off top, faced with the industry politics while working on the album. So he had new artists freshly signed to the label. No real background and knowledge beforehand. When he was running around with Cannabis, it was strictly rap. Like, it was strictly, we're going to studio, we lay some songs, we're going to hit these radio stations, we're going to rap. So I don't believe he got any, industry label experience running around with Cannabis and none of that. So he was fresh in, young boy, early 20s, I believe, at this time, So he was in the creative process trying to figure out, features, producers, for the album. Then he get notified by one of the label heads, like, yo, if you don't turn this project in by this deadline, you're going to be charged $14,000 each day after the deadline that the project ain't turned in. So now it's like, oh man, so if you don't know that off top and then you get faced with that as a new artist, automatically put pressure on you. Like, damn, I gotta hurry up and finish this joint. To save this bread. Otherwise, it's gonna hurt my situation. 14 grand a day. That's a pretty penny. So any regular person would do, who try, maximize the budget. You gonna make sure you get the project done in a timely manner, even if it ain't all the way you want it, or you get the people that you want, or you get the producer that you want. You gotta get it done in this time frame and turn it in. So that's pretty much what he did. And not saying that he wasn't happy with the album, he wasn't proud of what he did, and he felt like it was good work. But obviously, if he could have took his time and did it the way he wanted to do it, because there were certain people he wanted to get, and the timing didn't work out on the album and stuff like that. So if he's able to, take his time and do it, he could have, put more what he wanted on there, and it could have been better than what it was. But it still came out dope. Still was a good project. But in the mix of him trying to release the project, he's met with another hurdle, from the side of the industry politics, which a lot of people in the game dealt with at this time. Like, this is how the industry worked at this time. But if you don't know and you knew, then that's gonna be hit you from the blind side. So when you're ready to pick a single to put out, to promote the album, whatever, Jaren had a vision, a setup of how he felt as though it should go, and what song should be, his lead single. He had a vision on. He had a song. He had a song with M.O.P. on his album that he felt like he wanted to go with as the lead single. He felt like it would have been a better song to present him to the world. And then you could follow up with the song that they wanted to push. But the label basically let him know, listen, man, you can do, you can, if you run with the song you want to run with, we not going to back it. We're not going to put nothing behind it, not going to push it. But if you go with the song that we say, then we going to back it. We're going to put the bread behind it and push it. The song that they want to officially drop, he just decided, man, I'm done. I don't like how this whole situation went. Pretty much left a sour taste in his mouth towards that whole industry. And he just decided, I'm going to just leave. I'm out. I think they didn't recoup, obviously, because the album didn't perform as they expected. So he just chugged it. So when he went back home, he was still getting a little check from the label. I believe some type of living allowance or something like that he was getting. So they extended that through the end of the year, even though he left the label. So you know what I mean, that showed, that's a testament to how much they fuck with him, man. How he had a solid deal and on a solid label, so he still was getting paid. Know what I mean, so he can live and survive. Know what I mean, even though he wasn't, you know, actively a part of the label. So you know, shortly after that, you know, being home for a little minute, you know what I mean, he found himself, you know what I mean, like he was in a period of frustration, you know what I mean, as far as towards how everything happened. So he ain't really messing with the music initially. When he left, he just fell back for a minute, you know, and then he explained like things just start going down a little bit, you know what I mean, as far as his bread and all of that. Once the check stopped at the end of the year, because it's all in 2002 when he dropped his album and all of that, and then shortly after that he left the label, so that's 2002. So he still was getting paid though to the end of 2002, but when 2003 came, he said he wasn't getting no royalty checks or nothing like that because the label didn't recoup from his project. So you know, he had to figure it out. He wasn't working because he left his job chopped. I mean, he left that job, so now he's back in the city trying to figure it out.
Like I just got a little bitter, you know what I'm saying?
So you kind of just left the whole situation.
A little bit. I you know, and I'm not gonna say I stopped doing. I was just more so like, man, fuck it, you know. In the moment, you know what I mean? Just like I'm gonna drink, smoke, you know what I'm saying? Do whatever I do to push that out. You know what I'm saying? Record when I want. That's what I meant, you know, good segue, 'cause that's what I meant by choices that I was making, you know what I mean? They weren't really, it was just off emotion, you know what I mean? But so, just more on the personal, it got dark, man, it got so dark, it was crazy because once that paper ran out, your living advance or whatever, you know, that I was getting, you know, thank God for that, you know what I'm saying? I was getting that per month, but once that's gone, you know, and it was extended to the end of the year, even though I wasn't, that was, you know, a lookout from Kadar, or you know what I'm saying, Universal, because it was extended, and I wasn't even an artist at that time. So once that went out, you know what I'm saying, what is to do? Now I'm in a mind state, you know, and for the most part, you know what I'm saying, I see myself, most everybody that know me, I'm more, you know, a grounded individual, you know what I'm saying, so it wasn't too crazy, you know what I mean? When I say it flipped upside down, it's like literally that fast, you know what I'm saying? Choices, you know what I mean? But, so when that happened, you know, most people that's, you know what I'm saying, I'm thorough with then, before the music, I was thorough with after, because, you know, I surround myself around them tight individuals, you know what I mean? So, they didn't know what was going on. But, you know what I'm saying, a couple of my homies, well, I had to go to them to get work, you know what I mean? Because I'm in a mind state I can't. You know, prior to me getting a record deal, I was working at Children's Hospital, you know what I'm saying? And I had a young boy, you know what I'm saying, getting about 15, 16 an hour, you know what I'm saying? You know, and prior to that, you know what I'm saying, I was running the street rapping, but so if you check the timeline, from working at Chop to getting, you know, into the music, you know what I'm saying, to, you know, having, you know, the blessing of having a few years of that. When I say a few years of that, I'm talking about like making that my means of living, you know what I'm saying? And then after that shit like flip, you know what I'm saying? When you ain't talk at the label, man, you ain't making no hits. You know what I'm saying? That's what happened. So I had to survive. It got so crazy, but I just try to keep face, you know. And I had to go to my homies because, you know what I'm saying, I say, damn, let me borrow a stack. Or let me borrow this so I can, or I was still calling my manager like, yo, you know, can we get this popping so I can do this? And he was looking out the best that he could, but a lot of individuals don't know, you know what I'm saying, because it wasn't put out there to that, you know what I mean? We had differences to where choices I made, just being proudful, like, you know, stuff that might have been able to been salvaged, you feel what I'm saying? So it got a little dark to the point where I had to go and, you know, get work, and I told myself, you know what I'm saying, now I'm always back. I did a whole 180, you feel what I'm saying? Like I ain't even doing music no more. Only a year and a half later, I was just at the label, and now, you know what I'm saying, I'm asking my homies who was doing that at the time for work. Like, so even then it was a shock to my pride from all ways around. Cause I knew then, you know what I mean? I don't even feel comfortable in this position right now, you know what I'm saying?
So 2003 rolls around. You know, at some point during that year, Jern started getting back in the mix of the music. I mean, his vision and his focus at this point in time was try, you know, grab some homies that you know, I mean, and start his own crew, build his own crew pretty much, and move like that. So at some point in time, he started the crew called the Corporation. I mean, a couple homies he knew. I mean, he wanted to put them guys on. I mean, so he started that, and then you know, eventually, you know, my brother Feast got down with him. I mean, now that's how my story intertwined with his again, cause when we moved from South Philly, I mean, he was only there for like a couple years. Like, then we moved from South Philly. He stayed in South Philly, but moved to a different part. They was on Hick Street at the time, and I believe they moved somewhere from there. And so we ain't seen them or been in contact like that since then. And I believe it was like 2001 or 2002. Might have been 2002 after he left the label. He ended up bumping into my older brother. And I mean, my older brother remembered him from South Philly, you know what I mean? So my older brother, and I believe he had the Jern tattoo on his arm. I mean, that's how he found out, like, oh yeah, that's Jern, I mean, Rafiq. I mean, then he came back and told me in face, like, yeah, that's Rafiq. Jern is Rafiq, pretty much, because we already knew who Jern was, but we just ain't know that was Rafiq. So at some point time after that, we had reconnected with him, and Benzo Face had started rapping at the time. He wasn't really going hard and serious, but he was nice enough to, you know what I mean, move around with him. So him and Jern started moving around. I mean, part of the team, he has homie Butter Duquesne from his hood, Kilogram from New Jersey, and my brother had his homie T-Lo, shout out to T-Lo, white boy T-Lo. I mean, he had him a part of the team too, so they always running around with Jern as a little squad or whatever. They had a nice little run, put some music together and all that. I mean, I was fucking with it because bro used to bring it back all the time, let me hear it when he came from the studio and all that. So they had some shit. I don't know if they ever really dropped a project officially. I don't really remember. That was so long ago, but they had a nice little run.
Yeah, but we knew Jern before he was Jern, like, know what I mean? And that was crazy because we ain't seen him in a while. Like, we wasn't living out South Philly no more. Know what I mean? So my brother bumped it back into him, my older brother, Yablo. He was like, yeah, I just seen Feek down such and such. You know what I mean? He rapping now. So I'm like, damn, that's crazy. That's what's up, man. I'm like, what's his name? He like, journalist. I'm like, journalist? Mind you, man, my man Brandon was just in the crib.
That's when the Clue tape was out.
Yeah, the Clue tape and all that with Jern Cannabis.
Yeah,
we
would
just
that joint. Like,
we just played that joint like 100 times already, like the night before.
Everybody was talking about
the
that
week
joint.
before.
Sit on the strip and spit to the end of the clip. Believe me, dog, every bullet got a dent in the tip. But shit, I had to kill a man just to take his kilograms. Let 3 shots spin him around like ceiling fans when it comes.
So he like journalist. So I'm like, hey, only know one journalist. I'm like, boy, there, Feet copied off the board that be with Cannabis and shit, know what I mean? And he the boy that be with Cannabis, know what I mean? Kind of find out once we connected again. And I started banding with him, know what I mean? He was just showing me the game, like he got signed and everything. He was doing him, like he was just showing me, you know. I mean, I was just living that experience with him, know what I mean? He had me around him while he was doing his thing. It was a crazy experience. Like,
then eventually, you know, my Hollow, man, you know, Hollow had recruited my brother to run with the Paper Chasers, and he ended up running with them at some point in time. Like, so that was that story for those that know that. And at some point, you know, Kilogram went on. He did his thing too. Got signed. He had a major deal and all that. Kilogram got his own story too. He went on to have a nice little run.
Well, I ended up with journalists through a mutual friend. This guy named Flashy Freddy. He had a record deal. He was signed to Wanye from Boys to Men. Wanye had a small imprint called More Entertainment, and he signed his first rap artist, which was Flashy Freddy from Jersey. Flashy Freddy then, you know, make a long story short, he was doing like a host of talent shows throughout the Philly, Jersey, Delaware area. And every state or whatever he went to, he was grabbing a hot nigga. So if he did one in Philly, journalists won that show. And then he came to Jersey, he did one, I won that show. So he just took me and Jern and put us together as like a group. You know what I mean? Me, him, and Jern was called the Kleptos. So, you know, we used to be in the studio with him and, you know, writing rhymes. We used to be his hype man too. That was us being young, learning the game. So me and Jern formed a bond, just being like, you know, Flashy Freddy's like hype man, and him just showing us the ropes of the business, being so young.
I mean, then Jaren went on, at some point later after that, to start his hard rock movement. I mean, and he kept it pushing. I mean, all throughout these years after leaving the industry. I mean, he started different movements, trying to put his homies on, done different music with certain producers he rocked with. I mean, and he dropped a couple projects during this time as well. I mean, so eventually he got a job. He had a job. He was working for a period of time, so that stabled him out, leveled him out. I mean, for a long period of time, and then whenever he wanted to drop some music, I mean, he linked up some of his homies or different producers. I mean, and work on music. So that's pretty much what he was doing for a long period of time. I mean, at some point, the DVD era kicked off, and DVDs like Too Raw for the Streets, he was featured on there heavy. Big Star definitely fucked with Jaren heavy, you know what I mean? Like, as far as his lyrical ability and all that, so he's featured on Jones like that. When Gilly came out with his DVD, Marijuana High, yeah, Jaren on that Jones. They had a relationship from way back in the day. They from the same era and all that, So Jaren was on that Jones. When we came out with our Jones, he was on our joints, obviously. I mean, he had dropped projects like Formula 16 hosted by QDZ. QDZ was on the radio heavy. He had tracks from that project playing on the radio. I mean, so these are all little moves and stuff he was making, on his own after he left the music industry. So he still had his name. I mean, he still had a reputation, still was known as a legend in the city. So he would still be on stuff. He would still do features with up-and-coming artists. He would still call him out for stuff. He'd still pop up at shows here and there. I mean, pop up on DVDs and stuff like that. So he was always around in the mix. He just wasn't always on the scene. I mean, sometimes he'd fall a bit. I mean, and then he'd pop up and doing this thing. I mean, and he wasn't really super animated or super loud. I mean, wanting attention or craving attention. Like, he just was. He was just an old school boy from the old school era. Like, I just want to rap. I mean, be nice. Like, so he wasn't gonna get on there and talk too crazy. And even the way he rap, like, he talked street, but he keep it. I mean, like, he was real lyrical with it. I mean, like, he had his own style. He wasn't real rah-rah and loud and barking and all that. Like, he was real, I mean, calm, cool, collective, quiet for the most part. So, that's pretty much how he carried it, and that's how he liked it. Like, he wasn't chasing and thirsty for all the attention. He wasn't heavy social media boy or none of that. Like, real low key. Like, but he just rapped and was nice and wanted people to know he was nice. Like, so he dropped projects like Wild Supplies last. I mean, he had features with, he had a banger with Freeway and Philly's Most Wanted.
Your hand on the trigger to squeeze, nigga, please. I'm like liquor, nigga, I chill, but I don't freeze. Came with Most Wanted and free, the toast under the tea. Like I'm trying to stash food, blast foods. But trying to stash food, it'll be bad news. When it does, make your hair spread like bad news. Y'all niggas talking, but when it's time to put in work, your Tommy don't work like Tommy on Mark.
D-H-I-double-L, can't forget the Y-Y-S cross us, trouble, take a L. Turn Most Wanted and free, keep the record sales jumping and we all gon' ride.
I mean, on that joint, he had another banger with Philly's Most Wanted and Sparks on the joint, I mean.
What's up, Sparks? Yeah, the boy John. This how we gonna do this shit. Yeah, hey, yo. Hey, boo, hit him first. We gonna follow up on that page. You know how we do it. Come on, boom.
Not the ski, nigga, know that. The blue throwback, the Benz backseat go back. It's called the Maybach. Bet you didn't know that. Inquire about the CLK, so they don't show that.
Anyway, so then he did the, he was on the Philly joint, the P, the H, the I, the L, the L, the joint with Beans and Major Figures.
Brand new for yours, truly featuring my man Gilly the Kid, Bumpy, Dutch, Journalist, and Beanie Siegel, y'all. Fearless. Come on.
It ain't no telling what I do for a trunk of crack. Told y'all dudes that I'm quick to trunk a cat. You know my tools, either the pump or the mat. Catch me at your kid's school playing Uncle Matt.
Yo, what you think I couldn't shine on you cause your chain glistening? When they said the name Journalist, you wasn't listening. Change the condition of the range that you sitting in. Pull out the pistol and shoot out your Michelin.
I mean, he was on that joint, like, legendary classic joint, like. So I mean, he definitely made his mark. I mean, just like, I believe the industry situation, like, he had a bad experience with that, and that's why that kind of, you know, a lot of artists got that story where they had that experience, and then like it just soured them, and it kind of like traumatized them, and they never really made it back to that level. Because of that experience, it kind of crushed and killed their trajectory for the most part, like. And that's kind of like his story to a degree, like, but he still had, like I said, a nice little run independently doing his thing, and and fast forward up to recent time, he been, living life, working, staying out the way. In recent years, he went to architectural school, got an architectural degree. He became a father in recent years, so he been taking care of his daughter. Staying out the way, doing what he supposed to do. He's still looking young, got in the gym, got a little husky on up and all that. Healthy. Overall good, bro. Just been living life, putting music out here and there. Doing features for the up and coming artists. His homies. Being in around. Whenever he called out, he come through at the Philly Hip Hop Awards. He popped out one year, jumped in a cypher and all that.
It's your boy journalist. I'm here with my fam show. You're now tuning in to Philly Fame TV. We here at the Philly Hip Hop Awards. Salute to a bunch of talent in the city. Getting busy, we rocking out the night with Sam Man and a few other of the hottest in the city.
So he always been around in the mix. Supporting anything Philly, the culture. Anytime he called out. Anytime I called him do an interview or something, he popped out. We did the interview, I believe, back in 2018. So he always been in that mix for the most part. And I just hollered at him recently when I was talking about doing this joint. I seen a couple people in the comments comment his name in the last couple episodes. So, it was only right that I do this joint because he folks. He definitely underrated. He definitely a legend. I definitely was fucking with his music before I even knew that that's who that was. So it wasn't no bias in it. Damn, I only like him because my folks. Nah, I ain't even know that was my folks. I just found out later, that was my folks from back, when we was living down the P, yeah, he said he got a new project coming out soon. Back in the mix working. But he got work out. We go on YouTube. He got a YouTube channel. He got some visuals on there. He has albums, Scribes of Life on there. He got some other work on there, like post-season, off-season. Check him out. So if you ain't hear about none of the other work that he had out, like Why Supplies Last and all this different stuff, look online, bro. He got plenty of work that he done put. He might not been on everybody's radar like that over the years, but he been dropping stuff. So if you're a fan and you want to hear it, you ain't never know about none of this stuff, go look it up. On YouTube, he got a YouTube channel. Some of the stuff on Spotify, on YouTube. Just Google it, bro. It's around. And he got some new work. He said he got some new work that's coming, so be on the lookout for that. I'm telling him get back on social media and all that, so people can follow him and stay updated. I'm trying to get him back active on there, but bro been low key living his life, staying out the way. Doing what he supposed to do. So, even though he ain't had the success in the career he might have wanted for at the industry, but at the end of the day, bro, he alive and well, and that's all you ask for. He healthy, working, taking care of his family, doing what he supposed to do. So that's what happened to journalists, and that's where he at now. He around. Alive and well, and he about to drop some new music soon. He been cooking up, and so just stay tuned for that. Matter of fact, when he drop, we might do another do an interview with him, so y'all can get updated and be ready for that joint, so y'all can get all the information y'all need from him. But that's gonna conclude this episode. We're gonna sign off for now. Philly Fame TV. What happened to journalists? Where he at now? Shout out to him. Shout out to Cuz, Big Cuz. Shout out to the whole fam. Shout out to everybody that's been tapping in. Shout out to everybody that's been supporting. Stay tuned for more content coming soon. And we signing out. Philly Fame TV. We out of here.